What is going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. So today we got even more information for Spider-Man PS5 Miles Morales, and of course it is safe to say since yesterday when we got our first glimpse of some new gameplay for this game, as you'll see in the background, a lot of people are super hyped up, right? But more so of the fact that it's going to be available on your PlayStation 4 as well as your PlayStation 5. I think that itself is such a big win on Insomniac Games' side, but nonetheless, we got a ton of info to cover today, and most of it actually comes not only from the blog, but Insomniac going back to their old ways where they just respond to Twitter fans, I guess, right, and all the questions, which is really cool because again, it's just a marketing for the game and it's very consistent. Now, I do want you guys to get in the comments below and let me know, are you getting this game on your PlayStation 4 or are you actually going to be getting it on the PlayStation 5? Let me know right now in the comments below, and of course if you're new to the channel, go ahead, hit that big red subscribe button below, hashtag good day of the deed, and most importantly, getting back on that Spider-Man hype train. So, kicking off this video, I want to start off with the information that we got from Twitter, and it starts off with the first question regarding whether or not there'll be a PlayStation 5 Limited Edition Miles Morales console, and of course they responded with a big nope. Now, it's interesting to say nonetheless, right, because we did see so many concepts, but I think the key thing to actually take from this answer, right, is not only that is it a no, right, but most importantly that this is not Spider-Man 2, right? So this game is basically just the, I guess, a stopping point between Spider-Man PS4 and Spider-Man 2, right? So I guess it's not as big of a game in the sense of to have an exclusive console, but I do think when we get Spider-Man 2, they definitely will go down that route again. Now, the next question is a really cool one, and well, the answer to it is really cool because the question is, if I buy it for PlayStation 4, do I have to pay for an upgrade or is it free? Now, the response to that question is yes, you are able to upgrade for free, and if you buy the disc version on PlayStation 4 though, just make sure you get a PlayStation 5 with a disc drive. So again, I think that is such a big win on Insomniac Games' side, just making this game way more accessible, and I think with just things like that, this really is gonna, I guess, battle its way to possibly Game of the Year again. In terms of superhero games, I mean, I know we keep comparing it to Marvel's Avengers, and that game's getting a big update, right? So it's safe to say that the competition is going to be super tough, but I guess we'll just have to see how this all pans out, of course. Now, the next question, again, is actually, it's not more of a question, it's more of a statement, and it's basically someone essentially just complaining how they're a little bit annoyed because for PlayStation 5 buyers, you won't really have that exclusive touch on it or feel with it, right, because of the special features that PlayStation 5 has to offer, but considering it's on the PlayStation 4 as well, it doesn't really feel that exclusive. Now, what's interesting is this actually goes into their blog where they revealed a bunch of more information, not just with the DualSense stuff as well, but actually for the remastered PlayStation 4 version of this game, which again is such a big win, right? To get that game remastered in literally, what, that game came out in 2018, so 2 years later to get a remaster for that, I think is really cool, and the information they dropped on that game is really cool, so I'm going to start off with that, and it says, and I quote, "The remaster for the PlayStation 5 is no simple up-res, as many of the game's assets have been completely updated to take advantage of the PlayStation 5's console horsepower. You'll see better looking characters with improved skin, eyes, hair and facial animation, including our new next generation Peter Parker." And I feel like that alone, of course, that we can see Peter Parker in Spider-Man Miles Morales, that's another thing that's going to be interesting to see, but nonetheless, they're talking about Spider-Man PS4 right now, so that's really cool. Then it continues to say for that game that you'll also see ray trace reflections, and of course ambient shadows, improved lighting, more pedestrians and vehicles stretching further into the distance, and the same optional performance mode offered on Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales, allowing you to finally play the game at a targeted 60 frames per second frame rate. We'll be supporting near instant loading, 3D audio and the DualSense controller's haptic feedback, and lastly we are adding 3 amazing new Spider-Man suits, new photo mode features, and even new trophies for those who are looking to platinum the game all over again. Now, when they said, of course, well, the interesting thing I should point out, when they said things like more pedestrians and vehicles, right, back when this game was revealed at E3, and again, we're still talking about Spider-Man PS4, I don't know if you remember that kind of iconic scene where basically Spider-Man was just running through a cafe and smashes through the window. Of course, that essentially was removed and you couldn't do things like that. Now, that being said, considering we're going to get the remastered version of this game, and of course considering, you know, PlayStation 5's, I guess, horsepower, as they say, could that mean that some buildings could now be accessible for you to kind of go in? Like, for example, the jewelry stores. Could you actually go in there as a third-person view, as opposed to that long shot that we used to have in Spider-Man PS4? And mostly importantly, I guess, going into, you know, cafes like that, for example, and reenacting scenes like that if you're chasing enemies. I think that would be really cool, but again, we'll see how that goes down. But they did say it's not just a simple up-res, so that's going to be interesting to say at the least. Now, going on to Miles Morales, they said beyond the thrilling gameplay, the gameplay video also shows off some amazing visuals that are available for the game on PlayStation 5. We are taking advantage of the next generation in many more ways, as well as for the PlayStation 5, from the silky smooth targeted 60 frames per second frame rate performance mode to feeling the bioelectric venom energy course through your fingertips via the haptic feedback of the DualSense controller, to hearing Marvel's New York surround you in lush 3D audio. And Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales will be a showpiece for the PlayStation 5. Now, that last sentence, that the game is going to be a showpiece for the PlayStation 5, I think is a very, very big statement to say. Of course, besides God of War, which again has somehow already just got so much hype behind that, considering they didn't even show gameplay for that. They literally just showed a logo, and that has a lot of people really hyped up for it. But I think to make a statement like it's going to be a showpiece for PlayStation 5 does definitely get me excited. Don't forget, we've got different weather conditions. It's going to be set in winter as well. 60 frames per second just means it's going to be extremely smooth, and most importantly, it's going to be interesting to see how Spider-Man PS4, the remastered version, is basically going to be in comparison to the version of that game we have now. So, I mean, we've got some exciting times coming up for this game, and like I said, it could potentially snatch that #1 spot for superhero game of the year anyway, considering we've only got Marvel's Avengers, but you get what I'm trying to say. Two different games, but of course we gotta wait to see how Marvel's Avengers is going to look on a PlayStation 5, because if we're talking graphical, I mean, it's going to be hard to say who's going to win that one. But you guys leave all your thoughts on this in the comments below, and that is going to wrap up this video here. So if you missed any of the previous ones, you'll be able to see them on screen. We'll also have a playlist as well, but don't forget to subscribe for more awesome content. But I'll see you in the next one. Till then, have yourselves a ridiculously amazing day, and adios amigos.